Yeah, Alex, if you go back to week 7, the game against the Bengals, from then until now, Baker's splits from earlier on the season, are off the charts, top 5 in the league in a lot of different categories, including QBR. What do you attribute just the rapid improvement that he made from that point to now?
The hard work, really. I mean, he's working his butt off. A better understanding of the system, I guess, probably. Probably understanding him a little bit more, too, in that process of calling plays and designing plays for him. But he's worked extremely hard, and he's made a conscious effort to take care of the football, and that's shown up. We had the one interception, on Monday night, but since that, before that, he was on a hell of a streak, and really proud of the way he's worked. He's put the work in.
Thank you, Jake. Next is Scott Petrick.
Hey, Coach. How would you describe Kevin as a play caller?
Oh man, he's good. He's aggressive. There's no question. I love it. Some of the calls that came out. There was one play, the throw to Kareem, that we had talked about during the week. He designed that play to get the matchup on Kareem. And it was 3rd and short there, and as soon as we got in that position, it was funny. I kind of looked at Case and I had the big eyes, like, is he going to call it? It's a pretty aggressive call, and he did. So he does a great job. I think he understands, how to keep defenses off balance, and he does a great job. Very aggressive, but at the same time, smart.
Is that the out and up you're talking about?
Mm-hmm, yes.
And then he spent so much time talking about the one game focus and not looking ahead to anything. How's he able to kind of get that through to the players when I think that would be a tough thing when you can see the playoffs kind of 3 weeks away?
No, absolutely not. No, this crew is locked in, and that's we all preach that, and that's something that's very important. That is really the backbone of our mindset, and it's just how we win this week. What's it going to take to get this one game done? It's always the biggest game of the year because it's the next game, and that's the mentality we've all adopted. And I think we're all living by that. You get in trouble when you start looking ahead, and that's something we were very conscious about, keeping our guys in a narrow focus on this week's opponent, going 1-0 this week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Jeff Shadell, you're up.
Hey, Alex, could you talk about the way your offensive line really came together pretty quickly this season with no preseason or OTAs or anything like that?
Yeah, you got a good group of pros up there. I mean, really great workers, smart guys, talented guys as well. Bringing in a rookie in Jed, and extremely talented guy that's also put in a ton of work. I mention it every week with Coach Callahan, the job that he does with Coach Peters with that O-line. They're a group that's always ready to go, and they're always on point when it comes to everything from pass protection to blocking to to the cadences. They're always prepared, and they work hard. So hats off to them. I mean, they've obviously we've done some good things in the running game, and most of that's a lot to do with them opening up those holes for those great backs. But that's a group of guys up front, really proud of. We're in a meeting this morning. Just told them again how proud I am of the way they work and the job they did, especially last week in pass protection.
Thank you, Jeff. Mary Kay Cabot will have our next question.
Yeah, Coach, can you just kind of speak to a little bit about what it must be like for, all of a sudden in New York, Freddie is getting handed the play calling duties this weekend. Just knowing what you guys have to go through during the week to prepare for a football game. What impact might that have? And if something like that happened, I'm sure you would be 100% ready to step in there and call the plays. But what must this be like?
I relate it to being a backup quarterback. You have to prepare like you're starting each week, or else you're not going to have a good time on Sunday if things happen to fall your way and you're in the game. So much like a player, you have to anticipate that. Hey, you never know what's going to happen, especially in 2020. That you might be the play caller on a Sunday all of a sudden, really up until the point before a game or even the day of the game. So just continuing to prepare like, there is a chance that you could, be thrust into that role and being ready. And then at that point, you're working within a system of plays that's been developed by, obviously your guys, and it's your offense. So you're just staying within the parameters of that, and trying to call it as much like, Kevin in my situation as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kate. Nate Ulrich is next.
Hey, Coach. Speaking of filling in, how valuable has Chris Hubbard been for you guys this year when you talk about the success of the offensive line? And Now you're in a situation right now, obviously, where he might have to do it again. So, just for him to be able to plug in there, what's that mean to you guys?
It's awesome. I mean, really, he's a swing guy at 4 positions. And if you ask him to snap the ball, I bet he can do that as well. So the value that he brings, plus the quality of play, it's very impressive. There's a guy that a lot of teams would be a starter. So to have him, in the bullpen ready to plug in any of those spots, it's been great to have him. And if he does have to go, we'll see. But we don't expect any drop off there.
Thanks, Nate. Dan Labbe, we'll go to you.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask you about Harrison Bryant. We saw him kind of flash early, and I know he had some issues with fumbles and stuff. But what have you seen from him in this rookie year, and how tough is it for a rookie at that position specifically?
Yeah, it's tough for any rookie at any position really to come in and play extended time. So hats off to him, to Jed, those guys that are doing it. Donovan has done a great job as well. So it's tough to come in and make an impact as a rookie, but he's a guy that all 3 of those guys, they work hard. That's the biggest thing. Harrison had the fumbles, but I bet you he doesn't do it again for a long time because you can see him even in practice. He's conscious of it now. He's a guy that you can expect exactly what you ask him to do, you're going to get it. He had a comment to the quarterbacks earlier in the season. He just said that I'll be where that ball was, meaning like I'll do whatever I can to get in that spot. So he always tries to do it right. He's a good young pro, and he's only going to get better.
I mean, when you mention him and Jedrick and Peoples-Jones, it just seems like all of those guys, especially for rookies, are so resilient. Like if they make a mistake, they just bounce right back. I mean, where do you think that comes from?
I think that's the mindset that we have. It's, you are a rookie. We understand that and understand the difficulties that you go through. We know there's going to be mistakes, and we expect you to bounce back. That's what it's all about, is how you respond to adversity. And these guys have done a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. We'll go to Tom Withers for our next question.
Thank you, Rob. Hey, Coach. Quarterback Jarvis Landry did a heck of a job of hanging in the pocket the other day. Did he maybe hold on to that ball just a click too long? He took a pretty good wallop.
He did exactly what we told him to do. It was great. He looked him off. I wish I could take any credit for it whatsoever. I wish with his the perfect quarterback rating. But he's a stud. He took a shot last week, the week before that, drew a penalty on it, and then just sold the heck out of it, looking down the field, throw it back across the field, and took another big hit. So that's Jarvis, unselfish, and he's going to do exactly what you ask him to do, and he can throw the ball well.
How tough? I mean, you guys have run that a couple of times now, like different variations with Jarvis throwing it. Does it get to the point though? You got to be careful that you might tip it off a little bit, depending on how he comes in motion or any moves he might make back away from the line.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be careful about when you put it in. Probably got to put it on the back burner for a few weeks. Hopefully, teams forget about it.
Right.
But that is an asset that he has, and it's a talent that he has, and it'd be crazy not to utilize it. But maybe we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Tom. Scott Petrick, you're up.
Yeah, Alex, Kevin said that the Giants disguise as well as any defense in the league. So what does Baker have to either look out for or be careful of?
You just film study. A lot of that's going to be film study, and then post snap recognition. Kind of training your eyes to see the big picture at the last second. Feeling the safety rotation is a big part, cluing into those safeties. They do a great job. There's no question. Very, very rarely is it what you think it is, which makes it tough for a quarterback. So everybody in the passing game has to be really good with their post snap recognition of the defensive shell, where the safeties are. Is the middle field closed? Or are they going back to a version of their cover two? So those are things that we've talked about this week. They do an excellent job in their disguise.
Is that one of the areas that Baker's improved on as the year's gone on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's made a lot of improvements in his game, and that's one of them will be tested this week.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Anthony Pulsal is next.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned him earlier, but how impressed have you been with Jedrick Wills' development this season? I mean, is he playing at the level you and Kevin and Coach Callahan hope for at this point? And how would you grade him now that he's in the final quarter?
Yeah, I don't want to pass judgment without talking to Coach Callahan. I know Coach Callahan is always going to be tough on everybody as far as the grading, but he's done a nice job. There's always room for improvement, and he's going to only get better as he gets older and more mature in his game. But just the availability, he's been available for us. He's played a ton of snaps. He's played at a high level. He's had a couple of things to clean up here and there, but asking a guy to come in, switch from right to left, and start as a rookie with no off season. It's pretty impressive what he's been able to accomplish. But as always, we're looking for more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Mary Kay Cabot will have our next question.
Yeah, what does it say about this Giants defense in particular that they were able to basically come up off the mat and, win 4 straight or whatever it is, and, 4 out of their last 5 and beat the Seahawks? Kind of what does that tell you about this defense?
They're solid, very, very good defense. I mean, there's a lot of categories. They're up in the top of the rankings. They're very stout inside. Their inside 3 are very good players. Blake Martinez is a very productive linebacker, and their safety. So really, it starts down the middle of this defense. They play well within their scheme. I think Coach Graham does a good job of putting those guys in position to be successful. So, as you watch tape early on, the record definitely doesn't reflect how well this defense plays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We'll close the session with Tony Grossi.
Alex, you mentioned how aggressive Kevin has been play calling, and that's for sure. I wanted to go back to that final touchdown drive in Baltimore, against Baltimore, and ask you, how difficult is it for the play caller to be mindful of not scoring too quickly?
There is discussion, not in that situation. I think Kevin already alluded to it, that we were throwing a short pass to Kareem in the flat, and he made a play and broke tackles. You can't ask him not to do that. So you'd obviously like to leave them with as little time as possible, but at the same time, you're rolling the dice.
Right.
The 2 schools of thought: you score when you can score, and you got to hold them. Or if you're down there even closer, maybe you start thinking more clock and burning up a little more clock. But we're already in that position. We're thinking we got to score first.
So was there conversation going on between you guys?
Always. There's always conversation going on. Ryan Cordell does a great job with the game management, so they're in constant communication about time on the clock, timeouts, what they have left, what we think we should do. But when you throw a hitch out in the flat to Kareem, he breaks tackles and scores. You can't be upset.